Sutton's made the move. Sutton flicking it into Larson. Larson edge of the box, tries to play it into Larson. Larson's got a chance here. Larson! Go, go, go! Henrik Larsson scores! It's a goal! Celtic wants it! They have won now! They've got the goal! His name is Henrik Larsson!
The centuries long past for no more than your breath have bled for your...
Hail, and welcome to another episode of the Rhebel Podcast, coming to you from the Balcony of Freedom on this rather cold and blustery Melbourne morning. We're taping this at 9 o'clock on or 8 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, which is about 9 o'clock in the evening on the Monday Celtic Park time. My name is Fontaine. Happy New Year to you all out there on listening on the Hail Media Network. I'm actually on the balcony this morning on my own. No brother Frank to join me, but on the line all the way from Scotland I have my regular co-host. It's great to welcome him back and wish him a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas. Callum, how are you?
Happy New Year, Prefontaine. What's going on?
Well, you know, it's not that often I get up this early, so this better be a special podcast.
I'm sure it'll be funny.
And also, it's great to have on the show for the first time in exactly 12 months since we first did this ridiculous concept, which is the Rhebel Podcast. Our cousin Seán Donnelly. Seán, take it away. Oh, God.
One more time.
Give it a go. Come on.
Go again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, come on.
I don't want it.
Do try one more time.
Oh,
Stop smiling.
I learned this like a day ago.
Yeah, he's quite good.
Very good. Very good.
So you can definitely edit that first bit out.
No, that's staying in. I don't do it. I choose not to edit anymore. Seán, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. How are you?
Happy New Year, Prefontaine.
Now, you're the reason why we do the Rhebel Podcast for some reason.
I know. I'm just so amazing.
Because it was 12 months ago, almost to the day, that you were over here in Melbourne enjoying our lovely warm weather, and you are a vaguely loyal listener to the Wild Dog Half Hour, which is the podcast that I do with a mate of mine over here in Australia, and you listen to it every now and then. And we thought, well, why don't you get you on? Because we know the Wild Dog Podcast only takes a break over the summer, so we thought, why don't we get you on and we'll do just a dedicated Celtic podcast. I remember you came on, and I asked you when I introduced you. I asked you your first question, and you said,
I don't know.
I crumbled.
You did. You fell apart.
Just like the tin whistle this morning.
Just like the what?
The tin whistle.
Just like the tin whistle. That's right. But then one thing led to another, and we decided to keep on doing this stupid show. And we're like 19 or 20 episodes in, which really isn't a lot over a year if you think about it. That is just under 2 a month.
Not very consistent, are we?
We are not consistent. But anyway,
We're too busy.
That's right. Busy lives, busy people. So it's 12 months on. So we thought that there's actually a lot to talk about in the world of football, Celtic-wise, because the break has happened. So we just thought we'd have more of a bit of a chit-chat than anything. And if the listeners get bored and walk away, like Seb Conians do, then that's okay. We won't be offended because we don't know you're doing that anyway. So Callum, first of all, well, actually, Seán, what motivated you to buy a? I'm assuming that's a recorder, but I'm told that's a tin whistle. It sounds like a recorder, but it.
I was drunk one night, and my pal was drunk as well, and we decided we were going to buy a tin whistle so we could learn it and whip it out during the sing song.
By whipping out,
I don't know when we're going to whip it out, but
by whipping it out, you're talking about a tin whistle, right?
It will be a couple of years before I can play it well enough to get it out during my sing song. So
once again, by saying playing it well, you're talking about a tin whistle, right? So I'm just going to do dick jokes throughout the entire podcast. Every time we talk about tin whistle, I will be talking about dick jokes.
The tin whistle's a lot like the bagpipes. You're not sure if you're playing it well or not.
For a moment there, I thought you were... when you first started playing it and we were getting the show ready, I thought you were fucking a cat, but... Anyway. So, is that going to be... First of all, have you got your tickets for Turin?
No, not yet.
Are the tickets on sale yet?
For the home game or the away game?
The away game?
No, not yet.
Is the home game on sale yet?
Yeah, I picked my tickets up the other day.
You got a letter?
No, I've got a season ticket, so I get the ticket automatically.
Oh, I do? Okay, cool.
But for the away game, I'll need to wait for a letter.
Oh, okay. Callum, now I listened to the Beyond the Waves. Look, I don't know if it was the last Beyond the Waves show. I guess it wasn't, because that was before the Motherwell game. I guess he did. I guess Graham did one after that as well. But look, anyway, the last one I listened to, you were on and had a bit of a chat. And then I discovered that you're struggling to change your flights to stay for the home leg of the Juventus match. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not going.
Oh, you've conceded.
Yeah, so I can't get a flight from Singapore to Melbourne for like 3 weeks without having to pay extra.
How much extra?
Like $700.
Right. So that's the value you put on a Celtic Juventus Champions League last 16 match is $699.
The value my dad's putting on it because he's paying for my holiday at the moment.
All right. Fair enough, then.
So I'll be in the air when the game's on. I won't even see the game.
So if you want to abuse or call on or petition or lobby Callum's dad, he's on Twitter at giantcelt _8
008 or 8.
Okay.
8. Well, go to the Rhebel Podcast Twitter page and it's on there.
Yeah. Or just tweet. You know, you should tweet Frank direct, I reckon. Don't tweet us. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying it's on the web. If you go like to the About Me section, look, if you just want to give me some money, any people out there, you know, my hand's open.
Yeah.
I'll be in Glasgow tomorrow. I'll be down Argyle Street. So if anyone sees me and wants to hand me a $5 or a $10.
Yeah. While we're talking, I'll check up what Frank's bloody thingo is.
Well, let's talk about your call the other day, Prefontaine.
What was my call? Oh, okay. It's here it is. It's at giant_celts8. So it is plural at celts8. So if you want to get Frank to kick in a bit more cash to keep this poor kid in Glasgow for one more night to go see Celtic take on Juventus in the last 16, then get the sugar daddy to kick in a bit more cash. It's for a good cause.
Well, let's talk about when you called me and Sean the other day when we were at lunch.
Was I blind?
Very.
What was that after?
It was after the Melbourne cricket ground and then Melbourne victory fiasco.
Oh, that was a big day.
And your mate Jonty told the security guard, and this is the quote I got from my dad, you were standing up in your seat, and where our seats are for the Melbourne victory game, everyone must realise we don't impede anyone else's view. We're in the back row.
Yeah.
And you guys are standing up, and the security guard told you for your own safety to sit down.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
You and Jonty both said, or Jonty said, or you said, do they teach you to be an asshole in security school?
I think Jonty said that. I didn't say that.
Where after that, 2 police officers stood behind the seats for the remainder of the half.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we got a call from you when me and Sean were having lunch on like a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
At about 2:00 Glasgow time, and Sean will go through some of the things you were saying to us.
Oh, don't tell me you wrote it down.
Yeah, well, if you remember correctly, about 2 months ago, you wrote down exactly what I said on the phone. so I thought I'd get my own back.
All right, carry on.
Well, you kept going on the whole conversation about how beautiful the number 67 was. you just love the symmetry of the 2 numbers.
God.
That's what you said.
And you were going to like the nice houses in Melbourne, which is like kind of the Toorak area, and you were taking pictures of them,
of 67
and just like standing in the front of people's houses and taking pictures of their 67 and 125.
Yeah, that got awkward.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Peter?
Well, I had an absolute belter of a quote that you got there when you were mad right there. Here, you want me to read it out? something along the lines of this. We should go and interview Paul McStay, and if the cocksucker doesn't want to talk to us, we'll fly up and interview him.
Oh God. Oh my God. I cannot believe I said that. Good idea though.
Melbourne. And I said to you, Prefontaine, he lives in Melbourne. We won't need to fly anywhere. And you went, no, we'll fly there. Fuck it, we'll fly there.
Fuck, I was pissed.
You were singing Roman and the Gloman as well.
Oh God. Oh well, it is a Rhebel podcast after all. Jesus, that was a long day though. Like that was a really hot day at the test at the cricket, day 3, which I saw one ball, and then we kicked on into the city, and then went to the football to watch the victory play. Oh my God! I remember at one stage we were me, Jonty from the Wild Dog Half Hour, and Montgomery from who writes Fellow Writer with a Flack. We went to a local IGA, which is like sort of like it's a supermarket, but it's like a small time supermarket, like an independent supermarket. Where a couple of Indian guys were working there at the front counter, so this would have been about 10:30 at night, and we were all having arguments about feats of strength. So I dropped down and do 20 push-ups right in front of the front counter, and then so Jonty goes, no, I can do better than that. So he drops down and does like 30 with the star claps, and then Monty does it as well. And people walking past going, look at these 3 fuckheads all, and we're all abusing each other as we're doing the push-ups. And I remember that, and then that was it. Nothing else. I blanked out after that. I don't remember calling you guys.
Do you remember the people getting arrested in Bridge Street?
No.
No?
Well, I think it was because you were Roman and the Gloman personally.
And they got arrested for it?
Yeah.
Fair enough too.
Your comment was that you thought they were getting arrested because they were blessing themselves aggressively.
Far out. I don't remember that at all.
So that was very funny.
This is scary.
Yeah. That's what you do when you're drinking.
And I always think when I normally call you Sean Piss, I'm always thinking I'm in control of the situation.
No, you certainly were not in control of that.
Fuck. How long was I on the phone for?
About half an hour.
Whew.
And we were trying to have our lunch. It was really annoying because my lunch went cold.
Oh, I'm sorry, Callum.
Just so you're aware.
Rightio, okay. Well, you've suitably embarrassed me. I can't believe I called Paul McStay a cocksucker. He's my favourite player as a kid.
Well, we should go interview him now.
Well, we're totally going to do that and apologise to him. And now, Paul, before we start, I'm sorry I called you a cocksucker. You're not a cocksucker. You're a legend. But evidently, when I'm 3 sheets to the wind, everyone's a cocksucker. It's a term of endearment for me sometimes. Anyway. The Motherwell Celtic 1, Motherwell 0. I actually only watched it last night because I was interstate and wouldn't hit the internet the day of the game. Did you? Obviously, you guys went.
We did.
Yep.
Now you, for the listeners out there, you were. Glasgow's been invaded by another member of the Donnelly family. Your cousin, my nephew Liam, is over for the first time in his entire life. And I think, Sean, beforehand, did you, or after the game, you gave him a bit of a tour of the whole family sort of things where mum and dad were born and went to school and got married and all that kind of stuff. Was that before the game or after the game?
No, yeah, we did that before the game, the day before the game, because he arrived the day before the game.
Right.
And we went to all the old haunts.
Oh, fantastic.
So.
Because he called up his dad. I was speaking to his dad at Callum's Grand's 80th the other day, and he was saying how much he enjoyed the whole experience and doing it all beforehand and sort of getting a taste for it, and then obviously going to Parkhead to watch the game. He said it was quite an emotional experience, the whole thing. It was like a pilgrimage. All the things he'd heard about and seen on photos to come to life, he said it was pretty amazing. We
probably should note that I'm pretty sure all the places Sean's dad took us were actually all the wrong places.
They weren't. We took them to the right places, but we were just telling them the wrong things about these places.
Oh, that's good.
We took them to Chancellor Street, but I didn't know we were on Chancellor Street.
And said this is the home of the Orange Lodge.
We also took them to St Patrick's. And I knew that St Patrick's was quite significant, but I didn't know what for. And I just assumed it was because your mum got married in there.
Wait, no, St Peter's or St Brendan's?
No, sorry, St Peter's. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, so she went to school at St Peter's and in Partick, and they got married at St Brendan's in Knightswood.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Callum, you've been there.
I know, but I can't remember. Yeah, every street looks the same to me. So
fair enough. Let's get to the Motherwell game before this turns into another family reunion like the week before. I actually thought after the first 10 minutes we were going to give this team an absolute humping.
Yeah, but we should have.
Like, what happened? Did someone put glad wrap over the goal mouth or something?
Just was not going in at all. First 20 minutes were fantastic. I thought Samnas was good the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, we were all over him. Like, it was just a case of not when, but how many kind of thing.
It was one of those games where the longer it went, you got a bit more worried because you thought this is one of those games where Celtic will pummel the opposition and continue to create really good goal scoring opportunities and then not score, and then see Motherwell on the break or on the counter go and score, which they almost did. Yeah,
there was a couple of times even in the first half where they got away, and there was one there where, I mean, I don't know any of the Motherwell players, but to me they're all Tom Haley. There was two Motherwell players in the 18-yard box, and maybe even closer than that, and the ball was crossed over, and we had one defender marking him, but the cross was so poor he missed everyone. They could have easily have scored then. Like, there was a couple of chances there because they're quite fast on the break.
They were pretty poor though, compared to something. They did really look like a class kind of below the team.
Yeah,
who they were playing against.
Yeah. And then, of course, they get the penalty, which is one of the best swallow dives I've ever seen since the last Olympic Games. In the diving pool, that was appalling. How the hell the referees thought that was a yellow card for him for diving?
Yeah,
like
that was close to where I sit. It was absolutely shocking. I've not seen the replay, but I don't even know if the ref's seen it. He just seen the guy fall and he just went, there's my opportunity. Gave the penalty. Yeah.
Like, he shrugged two tackles that were both late. They were both outside the box, but he didn't go down. And normally, referees will just play advantage, and that's, I guess, what he did. And then the very last guy who he thought was going to clean him up, which was Calvin Wilson, didn't, who stood tall and kept his feet together. He just dived over these imaginary legs that were meant to come out but didn't come out. It was just embarrassing.
And then Fraser Forster gets booked for pointing out to the referee that the ball's not on the spot.
I know. Like, how is that a booking? Like, I would have lost my shit at that point. I actually would have got sent off if I'd been Fraser Forster. I would have said, you give me a yellow card for that. And the ball still didn't go on the spot. Since when can you take a penalty kick from the 6-yard line? Fuck.
Could you see it from your seat?
It looked like I couldn't see if it was on or off the spot from my seat. All I was thinking at that time was, I'm pretty sure Fraser Forster has been booked once or twice before for that exact same thing, trying to cause a bit of a fuss before the penalty was taken.
Well, whatever it did, it certainly rattled Tom Haley.
He did, but he did deserve the fuss because it was well and truly off the penalty mark. It was
not on the spot.
Blatant. It was blatantly off it.
There was grass. There was green grass between the painted part of the spot and the ball. You could drive a bus through it.
But you drive the 62 through it. But geez, it was a good penalty stop.
And it was well taken as well. He hit it sweet and he sort of got it at a good height and far enough across. But the Great Wall, he's unbelievable. And it galvanised. I got a sense even from the tally, and I guess it was better experience there, but it just galvanised both the team and the support. They really, we're all pissed that not only was it a penalty, we're all pissed that he was taking it from 2 feet out. And
I think as well there was some pretty rough challenges flying in, which there was no bookings. Charlie Mulgrew, for his first tackle in the first half, got straight away.
I know.
And then some of their players were absolutely hacking our players and not getting anything. So I think the support, I must admit, after that penalty save, and then pretty much straight away we get the ball up the other end with Georgios and Gary Hooper combining, and the crowd did kind of breathe a collective sigh, and it was a really good atmosphere after that kind of those two incidents.
Yeah. And then Gary Hooper's goal was a well worked goal. Commons, nice ball inside off the the left-hand side, then through to Hooper. Good run, wide ball out to Sammy. First time, just whipped it hard across, and Hooper, who still had a bit to do. Anyway, he had the keeper bearing down in on him, and he had Tom Haitley bearing it on his back. It was a well taken, well-finished goal.
Well, he missed a similar spot in the first half.
Yeah. So
it was good for him to get another goal.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, we need Commons in that team. Because we just... The last couple of weeks there, I just thought we lacked that kind of creativity. It's easy for us to get all the possession at Parkhead, or even away from home, But just for someone who can beat a man... Same with, what's his name, the midget out in the wing with no neck?
James.
Yeah, James. Forrest. Players like that can beat players, because sometimes we're not going to outpass teams because they are kind of well organised now. I just think we really need players like Chris Commons and that. And also, Jesus, like any shots that we take from outside the 18-yard line, we could not score in a brothel. Like, our shooting is woeful. Any thoughts on that one? Or the silence suggests to me you don't agree with me at all?
Sean doesn't agree with you.
Really?
No. No, I think Wanyama and Commons, they could hit all day and hit 1 in 100.
Yeah.
When they hit that 1 in 100, it's an absolute belter, right enough.
It is, but it's clear that a lot of the times we're not going to be able to just work the ball through the box and score, because there's literally 800 people standing in it, and it's probably smart to take that shot from outside the 18-yard line, but Jesus, we need to friggin' practice a bit more, because they are just flying into the stands at Rosette, and it's just stupid. Like, at least friggin' hit the target, make the keeper try and fucking save it,
We did sell the last player we kind of big last name player we sold was the only person in our team that could probably hit the ball from outside the box, and that was Key.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he did it quite regularly.
Yeah.
But
did you call Key? Did you call Key a key signing?
But for the Juventus game, we really do need James Forrest and Chris Commons back, because without them, it'd be very difficult to break that side down with just guys like Wanyama, Joe Ledley, and Scott Brown in the middle of the park, because they're not as creative as those two boys.
No.
Especially with the passing.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the story on Joe Ledley? Is he still injured or something?
He's in Dubai.
He's living up in Dubai right now.
Oh, just on annual leave, fair enough.
I think they're deliberately resting him. I'm pretty sure he could have played against Motherwell.
Yeah.
But they just decided to rest him. I could be completely wrong.
And James Forrest has taken another knock, but it's a different injury to the one that's kept him out for the past 7 years. Is that right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Has he got the hots for the doctor or something? He just likes to lie on the table. Oh, touch me there. Touch me there.
He's got a lot higher voice, James Forrest. He's only 13.
Touch me there. Touch me there. Is that it?
That just got wrong, actually. Just think about that.
It did. That make it edited. I tell you what, there was one of the games just recently, the physio for one of the other teams. It was a chick. She was good looking. I can't remember what game it was.
I looked on. There's a Twitter page of WAGs for all the footballers.
Yeah.
And Giorgio Samaras' girl was on that picture today, and she was looking fine. It got retweeted. So I was looking through all the pictures of all the different girlfriends.
Yeah.
And wives, and it went to the Real Madrid physio, who's some absolute stunner.
Yeah.
It was quite funny.
Yeah, I can't remember what team it was, but she was good looking. I was thinking, geez, I would feign injury every 20 minutes. How you going again? Hi, nice to see you again. How you been? What's going on? Want to get a coffee after? Where you hurt? Oh, my groin's really bad at the moment. Just keeps on playing up. Don't use the spray. Anyway. Now we've signed a new player. On a loan, Rami Gershon from Standard Liège. Apparently, Tony. Who's the scout for Celtic? Tony Park. Is his name Tony Park?
John Clark?
No.
It's Sunday Park.
Because, this whole lead-in's completely fucked up my joke. I was going to say, if just say it's Tony Park. He must have some deal with Mossad, the secret intelligence service for Israel, because we seem to be getting a lot of Israeli players these days. Or is it maybe to wind up the Green Brigade, just give them the shits?
Well, there's only one Israeli player. We just signed them from Israeli leagues.
Ah, good point. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because Effie Ambrose is Nigerian or whatever.
So he says.
Well, he certainly doesn't look Israeli.
Hey, Israelis can come in all shapes and sizes.
It's that agent that like Kyle's agent or whoever he is, who's the same guy's agent as the guy we just signed. He's signed a few Celtic players.
Yeah, he's got something going on there. Well, hopefully this guy's as good as the rest of them. I think that I was thinking about this the other day. Do you think the mentality of the Celtic supporter has now gone completely 180? Like, has it completely changed? Whereas 10 years ago, if we'd signed someone like that, we'd be like, oh, this is bullshit. Because we always want the big name signing. Whereas I was reading on like eTims or something else the other day how they were saying, and we'll sign a new guy and we don't know who he is, and that must be a good thing. Because if we have to go and pay the wages of some former superstar who's in the twilight years of his career and wants to come and play at his quotation marks boyhood club, i.e. Roy Keane, then we're doing things wrong. So we're not looking for the big name signing anymore. Like if we were to sign someone big, we'd be like, oh fuck, really? Whereas now that's completely changed. We don't bitch and moan when we sign some obscure kid and we don't sign the big name signing. We seem to be quite content when we get someone we have no idea about, because we just think in Lennon we trust, and in Park, we don't know your first name, official scout for Celtic, we trust, because they seem to be unearthing these little diamonds in the rough.
Well, I think there's a bit more confidence in the Celtic support, probably due to the fact that all the recent signings, well, certainly most of the recent signings of these, nobody signings have been good, if not fantastic.
Yeah.
Nobody'd ever heard of Kyle.
No. Or Victor.
Nobody ever heard of Wanyama.
Yeah.
And these guys are fantastic. And going to hopefully make Celtic millions.
Well, that's right. But I mean, so the transfer window's still open at the moment. It doesn't look like, even though the media are doing their best to achieve this, it doesn't look like we're going to sell anyone.
They're all too busy spending their time on yachts, private yachts and whatever else, to think about going to the Premiership. Yeah,
life's good.
I was talking with for the Motherwell game with Charlie and Brendan and Kieran and a couple of guys kind of near their seats, and you say that these guys are a lot older. These guys have lived through obviously the 60s, the 70s. When Celtic were the best team in the world. Nice foot.
Sorry,
but their whole kind of optimism around Celtic has changed as well, and their belief in what the Celtic business model and football club is like. They're now saying that they acknowledge that Celtic is a club that can only buy so many players, can only buy a certain type of player, and they don't want Celtic, or talking to these guys, they don't want Celtic to buy these big name players that will may upset the dressing room, will demand incredibly high wages, all this type of stuff, because they're happy to sell. They're happy for Celtic to, and look, they are actually happy to sell Wanyama at a price that will get Celtic, maybe 3 or 4 more of these type of guys, and that was quite surprising to me when I first heard about that. But they make good sense, because Celtic is a business, unfortunately, and as much as we don't want to talk about it, that's what we are. And if we want to continue to improve, hey, it'd be great to keep these guys. But if someone's going to, give $15 million for Celtic to wait for Wanyama, you'd probably take it.
Mm.
And these guys, who are a lot older, who have seen all different types of Celtic clubs and players and managers and boards of directors, all that type of stuff, they now realise and are quite happy to acknowledge that Celtic have to be in this type of market and that type of business model for it to be sustainable.
Yeah. So it's almost like a re-education, I guess.
It is, and you know what? The whole Sevco thing has probably helped that as well, helped that speed up, because there's been some reports, and there was actually a Twitter article from, I've forgotten his name, but it was a Rangers director who just died, as in last week, and he wrote an article. He did an article in the Scotsman in 2002, in which he legitimately, came to the conclusion that Rangers would go bust because of what they're doing, their business model. And he juxtaposed that with Celtic, with the new, I think it was Ian Baker?
It would have been Ian McDonald. Ian McDonald at that point in time, I think.
No, Ian, what's his name?
Bankier,
the chairman, and Dermot Desmond, I think, just came in, and the board of Celtic had shifted from, spending exorbitant amount of money on certain players, transfers, wages, to a more business-like type model.
Yeah.
And the Rangers director, I've now forgotten his name, who was a very outspoken critic of David Murray, ended up coming to the conclusion that Rangers would go bankrupt and would become insolvent, and all of his things that he said would happen ended up happening.
Yeah.
So I think that's also helped the Celtic supporters go, well, we could be a brand new club if the board of directors and Neil Lennon and those guys aren't honest with themselves and go, well, this is where the club's at the moment. This is our income stream, and this is what we have to do to compete.
Yeah, I guess it's been when I say it's a re-education for the fans, it's also been a re-education for those that run the club as well. When you think back to when the Whites and Kellys ran the place, it was a complete, obviously a disaster, and history showing that. But even since then, when McCann came in, he had a certain business model, and then through the sort of the early 2000s, when we were trying to play catch up to the Huns again after we'd sort of stopped the 10, and with Martin O'Neill, we bought a lot of players, and that's when it turned in a sort of. Martin realised after the Seville run that I think he even said it himself that Celtic's going to have to spend some time in the slow lane because we just can't keep up with the wages that's going on down south in the overinflated, overhyped Premier League, and it's taken almost 10 years for us to work that out, and the board's been patient in trying to bring in a different style or model. John Park's his first name. John's his first name.
Yeah.
And clearly he's one guy we want to re-sign as well. I mean, you don't want to lose him because there's a lot of clubs down south that are obviously thinking, I wouldn't mind his services. And I just don't think it's him, it's his whole scouting team. And I think some of those involved in that are a lot of ex-players like Lubo and the like that are out there looking at different young players and reporting them back to Lennoxtown, which is the network. It's just not John Park as well. It's the network of guys he's got around him that are helping unearth these players.
I was talking to Charlie and Brendan. They were saying Jackie McNamara's come up with a couple of gems as well for a couple of youth team players supposedly. So there's a whole range of guys out there that are looking out for Celtic, and probably Neil Lennon to an extent as well.
Yeah. So this Gershon guy, apparently he can play both centre back and left back, which is good because we need cover in both those areas. I would think.
I know nothing about him. I didn't even know his name until you told me just 2 minutes ago.
Right.
So supposedly Evie Ambrose is going after the African Nations Cup, whatever it's called.
I think it's only he is, but
so I think the cover was maybe for him, and obviously Thomas Rogney's in the centre back position.
Thomas Rogney is shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it's not just because he badmouthed the club or he's carried on like a wanker with his agent and stuff or in the media. I just thought, like 12 months ago you would have been happy with a settled Thomas Rogney, Calvin Wilson or Thomas Rogney, Charlie Mulgrew kind of centre pairing. But I'm quite happy with the way things are going right now, and I'm glad he's not getting a game because he's just not good enough.
Well, he had a bad game against Hibs, supposedly. I didn't watch the game. But
he had a howler.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, it was the first time I watched the Celtic defence and been worried about them again, He had a howler. Maybe he's not match fit. Got to give the kid a break, I suppose, but wasn't good enough. Let's talk about league reconstruction. Have you guys been following much of that over there?
I read it in the paper yesterday.
There's this talk about
12, 18.
Yeah. Me and Charlie having this conversation yesterday. I don't understand how
changing the league will make it more interesting, or getting more people through the gate.
Yeah, it's cosmetic.
Because this is their big. And if you listen to Clyde, obviously no one listens to that anymore. But people, you listen to Clyde, you read all the Daily Record. This is the big idea for Scottish football. This is legitimately the big idea. That's it, to change how many people come in and out of the league.
I know, and that's what they did. They did that in '74, and then they kind of did it a little bit in when they created the SPL. It's just cosmetic. It's just a wank.
It's one way to. It's just a way to try and get Sevco into the Premier League quicker. That's the only reason.
Oh, it's just bullshit. It's just such bullshit. What they should do is if they're thinking about reconstruction, they should stop playing the games in winter, play them in summer, or have a huge winter break. But my idea would be to start early, start uber early, start the season in May, and finish up whenever. I haven't thought it through that much, but just. Get away from the winter, because the weather's just too bad and there's too many games. It's not conducive to take young families. If you want to get more people through the gates, have it when the weather's better, and the nights are longer. Those nights that weren't all that particularly warm, that when I was back there with you, Sean, at the start of the season, how cool is it walking out of Parkhead and it's still kind of daylight?
Yeah, well, it's obviously much better than now when you walk out of Parkhead and it's pitch black at 5 o'clock. But I don't think summer football will happen. I think everyone, all the fans would want it. It would be fantastic to go there in summertime, but we would be ill prepared for Europe, and I think you see that with kind of Scandinavian clubs. Because
they're but they would be halfway through their season. Same with the Russian clubs do okay, and that's maybe because they've got dirty oligarch money, but.
I thought there was a problem in terms of the league had to start in a certain time and end at a certain time for UEFA.
Yeah, well,
that's what I heard. That's what I heard anyway from a radio guy that said that.
Yeah, well, it must be true then.
What happens if Celtic, if we played summer football and Celtic qualified for the Champions League last 16, and the season finished in let's say October, then we wouldn't have a game till February.
Yeah,
the first game would be last 16 of the Champions League. I don't think anyone would really be wanting that.
Let's see. Yeah, let's think this through. So if I'm saying we start in May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. The season almost goes for. It's like, what is it? June and July. So it's 10 months. The season is now. So yeah, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. Okay, the season would finish in February if you started in May. But maybe you'd have a shutdown over sort of the December, January period. And then you start back up in February, March, April. That works. Okay, so you have a shutdown for 2 months, that's true, and you go into playing the last 16, you haven't played any football. Would be a pain in the arse. But why don't you just go down to, Marbella and play Spanish teams every Wednesday night?
Well...
Or play it... Go join an indoor five-a-side team.
It could, but I just can't see it happening.
Okay, that is one obstacle that I do concede I don't have a complete answer for. But I just think that let's not get too carried away about how Celtic or how Hibs or whoever are going to go in the last 16, because I don't know if that's going to be such a regular occurrence. And yes, Europe's a priority, but I think we need to fix the original domestic product before we start getting a bit carried away with how we're going to go in the last 16 of Europe. Because that's the problem, isn't it? Is that the domestic product is rubbish right through to the juniors. And I think that I don't know. I don't know what football's like at a development stage in Scotland. Like in Australia, in terms of kids between the ages of 8 and 16, it's the most played participant sport in the country now. And I guess that's the same in the United States as well. There's a lot of young people playing football now in Australia, and remembering that football was a basket case in Australia 10 years ago from an organisational perspective. I mean, they made the SPL look organised. That's how bad things were in Australia. And the federal government stepped in and said, nah, that's not happening. They did a massive review into it. They looked at all aspects of the sport, and then they implemented a whole bunch of different changes. And one of them was moving the A-League, or creating the A-League, and moving it to a summer competition away from the competition of a rugby league and AFL and rugby union. That's been a good thing. And I was saying Frank the other night at the victory game. It was like 27 degrees, and we're sitting there in our shorts at sort of 9 o'clock at night. Again, how good is this? Like, just sit there in warm weather watching football is brilliant. And I think supporters would benefit from that in Scotland. I know you don't get great weather in summer, but it's a lot better than what you're getting right now, and that would be a good thing. And I also think that in terms of development, they need to need to invest more money in the actual sport at a junior level. Like, you've got those really good indoor pitches down at Hampden, don't you? How many pitches are down there?
I don't know. I've not actually been down. There must be quite a few indoor ones. I've not been inside it, so. But
I mean, you need more centres like that across the country.
I think they built a new one up in Ravenscraig, on the old site, the steelworks there.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, I think they built a massive one up there actually.
Right.
But again, I don't know how many pitches are in it.
Yeah, and even the clubs, if I was St Johnstone or even St Mirren or any of the regional teams, I would do like sort of a public-private partnership where I would, because I don't think any of those clubs have indoor pitches, do they? None of them have those facilities. The only teams that have those facilities are Celtic and Sevco. Is that right?
Well, I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Hamilton created that new Ravenscraig centre we were talking about there.
Yeah, that's theirs.
Well, I think they book it for their training sessions.
Oh, okay, so that's what I'm talking about. The club should do like a private-public partnership with like local government authorities or whatever. So everyone chucks in money, and the clubs use it when they want. They get first priority, obviously, and then it's there for the community to use as well, and that gets kids back into playing the sport again. Because I think that's half the reason why the Scotland team's rubbish now is because there's not enough kids playing football anymore. I mean, that was the sport that everyone played years ago, but you can tell there's a bit more diversity in Scottish sport because you're winning gold medals at the Commonwealth and Olympic Games now through cycling and swimming and a whole host of other sports because kids aren't playing football anymore as much as they used to. Is that a fair assessment? I mean, I'm not there, so I haven't got a clue. I'm just making this shit up, but I'm just gathering that from when I'm over there. You don't see pitches being used as much as you used to when I used to go there as a kid.
No, we had 3 football pitches within our, within my kind of scheme, and we now have none because they're all away.
Yeah,
they've all been grown, and these are 3 football pitches that I used to play on.
Yeah, and
they don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
and to be honest, you hardly see any kids out in the street playing football. Every now and then you do, but I remember I was out in the street every day with my pals.
Yeah,
football, and then it didn't make me a good player, right enough.
Yeah, you've opened up to a whole bunch of jokes there, and I won't do them because I'm not cruel. So anyway, they're my thoughts on reconstruction. I just wondered if you guys had anything else to add to that.
Well, the problem with all your thoughts are, number 1, it won't happen, and number 2, it's because they're kind of not easy ideas, but they're things that anyone would think of, except for the SFA and the SPL. So unfortunately for you, general, all that type of common sense just dropped on us won't happen.
Common sense,
yeah.
Yeah, I can't have common sense. I mean, the clubs spend all their time fighting over our money, and when I say our, I mean Celtic's money. I mean, fuck off. It's taken
almost a year. They're now almost ready to have only one governing body. They're almost ready for one. It's taken this long.
I know
to do this. It's just it's pretty unreal. Like you read it in the paper and you just look at it's all cosmetic changes and you just go, how is this going to help anyone? And we're listening to on the way home from the game, Clyde or BBC, one of those ones, and the guy actually made a point. The guy caught up and went, you guys, the people on the radio programs were saying, well, you guys are happy to disagree and say, well, this is not going to work, this is not going to work. But these guys, the people that are in football, the media, these guys have no ideas either.
No.
So it doesn't seem like anyone's got an idea of what to do.
Well,
cosmetic changes are there, changing the league structures, having playoffs, that's their way of making it exciting.
Yeah.
And getting people through the doors.
I don't mind the idea of playoffs. I think the playoffs are good because that's the problem with any kind of football league structure, unlike like in American sports where they have the playoffs, and in Australia, in the AFL, we have the final series and stuff, is that in a league structure where you only have one winner through the home and away season, it means that there's a lot of dead rubber matches towards the end of the season. So if you have a playoff system where teams are fighting to go up, or in the SPL top flight cases, teams trying to get into Europe, that's an incentive for those clubs. So I don't mind.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't mind the
That's
playoff structure.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
But you're right. The media are very good at just. I think the harshest critic of Scottish football isn't people down in England or isn't people outside of Scotland. It's actually people inside Scotland themselves. The media. They don't do it any justice. They don't do it any good service. And I'm not saying gloss over the fact that it's got some issues, but Jesus.
One of the I'm trying to figure out what he said. One of the there was actually a couple of things someone said on the radio the other day. One of the media pundits said it wasn't. It could have been Derek Johnson or one of those dicks that said, the media have done so well to talk up the game and talk up, the SPL, even though the Huns aren't there, and we've done so well at that, and geez, we've done well at trying to get people through the doors, but it's not up to us anymore. And these are the same people that wrote Armageddon and all that type of stuff. Another thing that someone said the other day was a Sevco fan said that he paid £500 for shares like a month ago.
Yeah.
And has not heard one thing from the club. No letter, nothing about his shares at all.
Jesus.
How bad's that? And then one of the Clyde pundits, after Rangers drew 1-1 with some team I've never heard of, said, I know Division 3 is a hard league, but the Rangers the Rangers really need to step it up at that level. How good's that?
That is good. Anything on Twitter, Callum, you want to talk about? Anything you've saved or picked up, thought was funny, worth repeating?
Etienne said the other day that the Huns might get another world record, and that's by winning a league and not getting promoted.
Yeah, I read that. Am I missing something there? There's stuff coming out in the media that they're in trouble financially again?
No, could be, but that's because if the league reconstruction happens, they just will go into another, there'll be no more third division. I think maybe there is. That's why I thought it was they'll just get promoted through that.
Oh, okay.
They would actually be promoted.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, we should probably ask them.
We should. I've done a top 5, as I do like to do.
Oh, quickly.
Yeah.
I retweeted the Thai Tims. They're building the Raymond Gormley Hall. Yep. And it's in the hoop. It's in the it's the tiles, the halls in the tiles of the hoops. Yeah. Looks quite cool.
I saw a photo of that. It's brilliant.
Mm.
It's worth that. That is something that I think that I would consider going over for a week or so and just volunteering my time to give those guys a hand with whatever. That's a pilgrimage that you could do away from Celtic Park, because that's clearly there's very special things going on there that if just from one young Scottish student going over to Thailand on his gap year or whatever to lend a bit of a hand, and his legacy that's been left behind is this amazing story of a school that looks after kids with various disabilities have now got these wonderful facilities, and it's all in green and white, and they're putting out more albums than the bloody Beatles. It's just it's a fantastic story. I think Celtic supporters should. I'm sure they'd love to see more people come over there, and not just to go there for you actually got to go there and do a bit of work. But that would be great. That's something I'd consider doing.
It is pretty amazing that I would assume a lot of those facilities have come not necessarily through the club, but actually through the supporters itself. Yeah, I think the supporters have raised quite a substantial amount of money for them. Yeah, and I started before that guy. You started with the guy that actually started up the school. Just went over there, and what an amazing story that is as well, with his son and all that, and his wife as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sean's also got a couple of funny tweets, so give us a...
Fire away, Sean.
I've not. I'm desperately trying to find them, but... do you remember a while back? Well, I think we were speaking on quite a lot. The guy on my two pals from uni. Two ones from uni, who absolutely basically have this overriding love for Celtic. Yeah. I'm just trying to find a couple of their tweets.
We went out... Sean and I went out with a couple of his mates the other night to a couple of establishments. Yep. And we ended up at the Corinthian. Was that how you say it?
We ended up at Corinthian.
Yep. And we got there. We stayed up so late that we stayed there so late that we actually had breakfast at the nightclub we were at.
Oh, very good.
Before that, one of Sean's pals decided to do.
I've got another pal who is also a Hun, right? He actually calls himself a Hun, right? And he decided to take his top off and get on his knees and go for some sort of mad kind of Republican IRA salute.
What?
I don't know. Some of these Huns are absolutely nutcases. I don't think they know what they want.
It was very weird saying that. Shirt off.
Your other two mates, just as a background story for the listeners out there, Sean's other two mates that are, as they say, Huns, but have some sort of infatuation with Celtic. Like, they really wanted it. They were so gutted they missed out on getting tickets to go see the Thai Tims when they played at was it the Apollo, or where did they play? The King's Theatre or whatever it was?
Yeah, they played the Royal Concert Hall. The
Royal Concert Hall, like, they were gutted. And what other things have they done? They just, like, they love all the Celtic songs.
Stuart, one of the guys, I swear I don't know anyone who's gave more money to Thai Tims than him. I think he downloads the Thai Tims once a week, and he sends me a picture every time. I found a few of his tweets here. They're not majorly Celtic, but they just says stupid stuff like, they sing the Champions League song in church. Sounds like a top buzz. I'm well going to Mass on Sunday.
That's funny.
So there you go.
That's good. Now, I've got a top five, which is the top five, for me, the top five moments of 2012. And feel free to chip in your thoughts and whatnot as I go through them. I'll start from 5 and head down to number 1. Number 5, I actually have got the Huns going bust. And I don't want to always keep on talking about these guys as if it's some sort of obsession, but I will say this before I do go on. When I was looking at some Twitters last night about the proposed SBL reconstruction stuff, and then it was one by the BBC. So I was looking at all the people who'd retweeted, and there was this guy, and his avatar or his Twitter profile pic was him in a suit with an orange sash on. And I thought, oh god, look at this wanker. But I clicked on that. I like to every now and then just see how the other half live, you know. And it was just going into his Twitter feed was like it was like sneaking into Nazi Germany in 1934 or something. I was like, oh my god, what am I doing here? I've really got to get out of here. It was a scary, scary place. But one of the things on his Twitter feed was a lot of sort of like pro Rangers what do you call them, memes and stuff, where that Celtic supporters are obsessed with Rangers. And the mere fact that I'm talking about it now probably lends to the argument. But it was interesting to say that's their big criticism of us, is that they think that we're obsessed with them. And maybe some people are a little bit, but I must admit I wouldn't even know what position they are in the third division. But anyway, so number 5 is the Huns going bust. And part of the reason why this is one of my favourite moments of 2012, and Callum, you'll agree with me on this one, is that this is when we really started to use Twitter a lot. Twitter was such a useful tool to get up-to-date, instant information about this story. And this story was such an engrossing story for 2012. Not just from a personal perspective, because we follow Celtic and Scottish football and the like, but also just from a general sporting perspective, it was amazing. And also, what was exciting was that all the news that was breaking during the day in Scotland, but for us, that's when we're asleep. So you didn't want to go to bed at night, because you'd be lying in bed there looking at your Twitter feed at like 11:30, 12:30, waiting for something to break, because every day something new got thrown up, and it made for such entertainment. I loved it so much.
On the way to work, it was the best. Like, for those month and a half, that was the best time I've ever had at work, because on the way to work for an hour and a half on the train, you would just read through your Twitter account. It was actually amazing, because you couldn't believe what was happening.
Yeah.
Every day was some new downfall of the former Rangers. Yeah,
it was fantastic. My number 4 is the Celtic 3, Rangers 0, the last Glasgow derby to be played. I don't think that needs any more explanation than that. Number 3 is actually more of a personal one than anything that would stand out for Celtic supporters. But it was, and Seán, you'll agree with me on this one, the Celtic 2, Helsinki 0 in Helsinki.
Yeah, that was a cracking day. That was the first time me and you have both seen Celtic win away.
I think that's the first time a lot of people have seen Celtic win away.
Well, sure enough, did we not get off the plane and the guy off the plane said that's the first time I've seen them win away and I've been going away since 1989?
Yeah, he did. I mean,
so he's obviously was selecting his matches quite carefully, so they made sure they lost every time he went.
But the whole build up to it was very, very important, Seán, because we sat there and discussed it at length. Because you and I had gone to Milan a couple of years ago, and we both got absolutely pissed, blind, as they say, and we got drunk in this Dumo Square. Standing directly behind us is one of the most breathtaking and culturally and architecturally important pieces of cathedral Gothic architecture in the world, and we didn't even go inside it. Not as tourists, not as Catholics, not as just people that should be doing that because that's what you do when you go to lovely cities like Milan. But no, what do? We went straight to the off license and just emptied out all the shelves of beer and went back to the square and just got mad with it. So we thought this time, and then I did the same in Seville. I never went to the cathedral when I went to Seville with Frank. We did not do any cultural things. We just sat in the square and just had beers and had a good time and chatted to everyone. But so we thought something was missing. So this time when we went to Helsinki, we thought we would do everything the opposite. So we didn't wear our home jerseys. We wore our away strips. We didn't get mad with it until late in the afternoon. So in the morning we had lots of cups of tea and prawn sandwiches and admired all the beautiful people of Helsinki as they walked by and sunned ourselves in the sort of the northern sunny skies.
There's quite a few ones, weren't there?
There was a lot of ones. We played the binary code.
Personal joke.
Yep. And then we thought we'd do a bit of culture, so we visited the cathedral in at the top of the hill in Helsinki, which we weren't aware at the point of what type of denomination was, but we just described it at that point as being Nordic Hun. But it turns out it's a Lutheran-ish church, I think. So we went in there and said a few prayers, and it wasn't until late in the afternoon that we went down to that Irish pub and then sort of had a couple of beers. And that was great as well, wasn't it? That band of the guys jumping up on stage and grabbing the guitar and playing.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I don't think you'd ever see it like that that often because they had an Irish band playing, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which to be honest, in all fairness, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think everyone was reasonably enjoying it. Reasonably enjoying them. And then obviously this madweight guy decided to stand up and have a shot, and he asked him for a loan of the guitar, and off he went. And I think that was it for the next couple of hours. They just followed his lead. I know, they were brilliant. And that's the first time I heard. That's the first time I heard that song, the one about the Spanish Civil War. Viva la Quinta Brigada. Yeah. I just love that song now. The Christy Moore song. It's brilliant. And then after the match we went, and the rest is history, and it was great. And it was a cracking little stadium, and a great night. And a great win, and then the whole song, This Is the Day That We Won Away, was just topped it off for me. That was just so funny. Yeah. I loved it. It was a good day. Good memories. Number 2 is Celtic 2, Barcelona 1, for obvious reasons. And just the feeling after that game, just walking around the city. I remember I was driving back down Elizabeth Street late in the afternoon, and there was a guy walking along, and he had his hoops on, and I honked and yelled out to him. And he just looked across and gave me the big clenched fist, and you could just see he was glowing. He was just high on life at that point. And I think that was the same for everyone right around the world. It was just a great experience because it made the mainstream media as well across the world. It was big news, A lot of people give shit to Scottish football and all the rest, but we're doing our bit to fly the flag, so to speak. It's a shame the rest of them can't. And number 1 for me, I think winning the league. Neil Lennon winning the league at Kilmarnock in such emphatic style, humping the Ayrshire Huns 6-0
was just great, and I think we all just had a party. Callum and I and the family certainly did back at my place here in Melbourne. We got out the green and white and orange streamers, and we had champagne ready, and vodka jelly shots and Buckfast and just beer and friggin' everything else. And we really, Callum, we got pretty pissed that night.
Got home at 5 in the morning.
Yep. And next morning when I woke up and I walked out in the lounge room, it literally looked like a green and white bomb had gone off.
Yeah, that wasn't good driving home that day.
Oh, but it was a great night.
It was.
Do you remember, and we're playing that Daniel O'Connell "Hey Come Over to My Place" really, really loud, and
On repeat for 45 minutes.
Yeah, and there was a guy on another balcony about 4 along who was sticking his head out. He was English, and he figured that Celtic had won, and we're all singing "Hey Come Over." Come on over, we're having a party. It was great.
Yeah, I got all that for about 40 minutes in the car back up the road when I was coming back up the road, and I wasn't even drinking because I was driving at that point, and it got a bit annoying after about the third time. And I probably listened to it about 30 times.
Yeah, we really rocked that song. I can't believe you weren't drinking that day, Sean. Why weren't you drinking that day?
No, I was, but I drove down to the match, and then once I got back up to Glasgow, I went out, and the rest is history. And
you had to play catch up.
I think we went to the bar, and I think people were pretty pissed because if I remember correctly, the traffic was pretty dire coming back up the game because there was so many Celtic fans there. We eventually got back up the road, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the late ones, so I think I had a good 12 hours at it. So
yeah, that was a great day, and even the game and the atmosphere. Obviously, you were there, Sean. That would have been brilliant. That point when they were doing the "Come on, you boys in green" with the 2 stands or the 3 stands.
Yeah. The stands were shaking, literally shaking.
Is that?
We were in the Chadwick, which is behind the goal, and I think it was a huddle or something they were doing, and I stopped just to turn down and see it, and the stand was shaking.
God, is that an indication of the poor architectural design of the stadium, or is that something a bit more about Celtic and how awesome we really are, or maybe a bit of column A and a bit of column B?
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah. So. You were going to say something, Sean?
Well, I was just going to say, Kilmarnock doesn't look like the most structurally sound of stadiums, but obviously it was fine.
What does that hold? What does Rugby Park hold?
I don't know. It wasn't even at full attendance that day. The Kilmarnock end was still empty that day, even though they only had 1 stand. And
they had 1 stand. We rock up and fill up 3 of them, which has probably never happened all season. They don't bother turning up. And the ones that did would have been sitting there, and they would have been, the ones that didn't go would have been absolute Huns. That probably just shows you how many Huns actually support Kilmarnock, the fact that there was like 16 people sitting in the main stand.
Yeah.
I hate Kilmarnock. I have a massive, massive hatred of Kilmarnock. A very disproportionate hatred of Kilmarnock. I've always hated Kilmarnock. I've always hated Kilmarnock. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it's from. I think it's when they first came up, they were a bit of a bogey team for us in that season when we were trying to stop the 9 in a row. We kept on drawing against them. They had that Serbian keeper who just kept on playing these blinders against us. And I don't know whether it's because when we went there in 2003 for the last game of the season, when the Huns were playing Dunfermline and we were playing Kilmarnock, and every time Rangers scored, all the home fans started cheering. That really pissed me off as well. I hate Kilmarnock.
Fair enough.
They are.
I don't think many people are fond of them, but obviously you're going to the next level there.
And didn't they, like when they all voted on the what to do, whether to let Sevco into the SPL or not?
Yeah, well they abstained.
They abstained,
which basically means they wanted them back in.
Yeah, exactly, because they didn't have the balls to vote for them, but they abstained. Whereas I love Dundee United. I do. I have a soft spot. I do have a soft spot for Dundee United now because they are at the moment basically taking a heap of shit from Sevco. for just basically standing up for what they believe in. And you got to, admire them for that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, any other thoughts, boys? I've just turned into a bit of a rant and rave there. Come on, you're the guys living. What's been happening? You guys are living in Scotland. Tell me.
Shut up.
Well, I'll tell you.
No, hold on. I got one before you because mine's not funny.
No. Well, I'll just go back to you. Okay, continue.
Okay, I just want to say how it's nice to have a professional multimedia team working for the Celtic Football Club. Guys like Tony Hamilton, girls like Laura Brennan, and the whole rest of them that will get hounded every day by Sevco followers, and they don't take any bait. And that's obviously because I'm assuming Tony Hamilton's kind of in the boss of that, and he's gone. If anyone gives you grief on Twitter, just don't respond.
Yeah. You
compare that to in all fairness to them, and we're talking about them again, but the Huns they're an amateur club run by a guy called James Traynor in their multimedia department. And you probably wouldn't have seen it, but there was a guy who was in charge, who was kind of their Tony Hamilton of Rangers, who went on a rant for a day and a half. And you know what? It gave me a lot of I laughed a lot. Me and Sean were kind of watching it as it was unfolding on Twitter because it was live tweeting.
Uh-huh.
And the guy's rants were just getting more ludicrous as it went on throughout the night. And it was very funny to watch. But I must admit, having, we all might not like, how the Celtic team is run or how the club's run, but the multimedia team does do a pretty good job. Yeah. And they're very professional. So good on you guys, because I know you're listening.
You I think you're talking about the guy's Twitter handle was RFC_Dixon.
Yeah.
Is that right? And his actual name is Baldy Slapdome.
Slapdome, yeah.
And he Tam Selleck CSC, the Twitter, that guy has got the his avatar pictures, a picture of Tom Selleck on the phone wearing a Celtic jersey. I love this guy. He has some really good tweets. Well, he tweeted to that guy RFC Dixon. He just tweeted, "You're just a shite Tony Hamilton."
Yeah. And he also said, "You need a break. Take a Kit Kat."
Very good.
Yeah. And Sean wants to give you last words.
Okay, Sean, fire away.
Yeah, well, see, the other night when we were out, we went to quite a number of establishments across the city, and the last place we went to was Corinthian. And when we were in Corinthian, by the time we got to Corinthian, we'd been drinking for a good 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah.
And we at that point, it was only at that point we decided to start making a list for what we could talk about in the podcast.
Yeah.
And I just read the list about 2 minutes ago, and
I'm going to say this.
It is a disaster. we met Frank McAvenny in there, right? And I'm about to say a pretty harsh word here, but on this list, the first point in this list just purely says Frank McAvenny, the cunt was causing it. That is no overstatement. He was absolutely causing it. We went down to the club, right? We went down to the club bit there, and we thought we were too old for the club, but Frank McAvenny was in there, and we went back upstairs to the bar.
The photo, Callum, Sean, the photo you guys put on Twitter of you two and Frank McAvenny was brilliant. Yeah. And I didn't realise, I mean, I figured you had a couple of beers, but you were genuinely, like, the smiles across your faces and Frank McAvenny's was priceless. It was a fucking ripper of a photo.
I spotted him from a mile away, and I was well pissed, so I think I just shouted out his name, and his face just lit up. I don't know what it was. His face just lit up, and he was totally loving it, and I think I was only repeating, like, stupid comments, like something about birds and all that, and whatever else. I wasn't making any sense at all. But to be honest with you, I think he was pretty drunk as well. And I was saying stuff about the birds. Let's go get some birds. And I was just talking absolute nonsense. Yeah. And the most unbelievable thing about it was, is see when we were finished talking to him, he did actually walk off with 2 20-year-old birds.
Oh God, he's still got it.
He doesn't.
And then...
So what else did you have on the on your running sheet for today's show?
well, most of the stuff about what you said. Well, just regarding your Madweight phone calls.
Okay.
There was other stuff about, well, we're hopefully going to get Kevin on the podcast in Skousen, Kevin Skousen.
Yep.
And we're just going to talk about our European away trips and all our Madweight antics across the last couple of years.
Oh, very good.
There was a few funny stories, but in fact, there was too many.
There is plenty of opportunity for the boys to come on and have a chat. We're always keen to have a chat to anyone. So, yeah, next time they're around, we'll organise it. Well, amazingly, for a show that we had nothing to talk about, we've gone for over an hour.
It was all your ranting.
It was my ranting, wasn't it? I ranted a bit today. I apologise.
It's alright.
Can I just say two more things?
You can.
After spending about half an hour there looking through my Twitter, I found two tweets that I favourited from these boys at uni.
Yeah.
Right?
The Huns.
Both these tweets were 60 days ago, which was after the Celtic Barcelona 2-1 game.
Yeah.
And one of the guys says, So blessing yourself aggressively has finally paid off, Sean. the big man in the sky had your back last night. Xavi has nothing on Wanyama.
Oh.
And then the other guy, Stuart Fortune, actually tweeted Barack Obama and said, "You are not now, nor will you ever be greater than Victor Wanyama."
And these are Rangers. These are Sevco supporters. This is brilliant.
These two guys have got season tickets at Ibrox.
We really need to get them on the show.
They are hilarious. I'm telling you.
We have to get them on the show. It's like sort of cross-community development stuff, It's about bringing the two communities together.
It's unbelievable. One of the guys constantly tweets. One of the guys lives in Lark Hall, which kind of says to you, "Whoa, that's a bit."
Yeah.
You must be a major hun, right? All he does is tweet the Lark Hall Celtic supporters. Like, seriously, it's just unbelievable.
Sean,
He's constantly.
I had a great. I had a funny dream the other night, which reminded me of the when you and I went down to Lark Hall to find out if it's true that they put mesh over the green lights on the traffic lights. Do you remember? You and I sitting there trying to, and we found one and was like, "Got to get a photo," but we waiting for those guys that we thought looked like crazy Huns getting their Indian takeaway to leave.
Yeah.
Before I took a photo. Anyway, I fell asleep and I just got up. Final thoughts, Callum. What are you doing now? You off to Spain to go watch the team in Marbella or wherever the hell they're playing?
Yeah, hopefully we get in because it's a behind closed door game.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Just Tony Helm, just tweet him and say, "Dude, I've come all this way."
Well, I've been told by your girlfriend that they know a person in security, so we're right to go.
Oh, we're all good to go. Very good.
Yeah.
So, how long are you down to Spain for?
Just a week.
Where are you going?
Malaga, Seville, Barcelona.
Right. Are you not going to the Basque Country?
No, I'm only there for a day.
In Barcelona?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then after that, going to Dublin and hopefully the north if the war stops by the time I'm there.
Oh, because, don't fly the wrong flag.
No.
You get all these loyalists not happy about that. God heavens, we get angry about a piece of material. Sean, what are your plans? So what's your next big thing you're doing? You've got Juventus, obviously.
Yeah, I think me and 7 other boys are off to Turin, so...
Oh, that'll be fantastic.
So I think everything's booked up for that now, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that'll be good.
I still need to get tickets right now. But.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's very important. I've heard it's a bit nasty as well when you go to Turin, because you remember how, like, if you go to Helsinki or even like Barcelona, and that, it's all fairly lackadaisical, but the Turin police are pretty particular about travelling fans, and they almost create like a sort of a wall either side of the support and kind of walk you into the stadium and walk you back out, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't really know. All you seem to hear is bad reports. So
yeah, I think this is one occasion that I know there'll be a fair few of us going. So safety in numbers, but
as long as you stick in a group, I think.
Yeah, like I think there's a bit of a tradition for Turinese supporters to stab you in the arse.
I'll make sure.
Just being fun in the group.
Yeah, exactly. Or just everyone walk in pairs, but with your backs to each other.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, I'll keep my wits about me.
Yeah, don't get stabbed in the arse. And that's not a euphemism. That is literally, do not get a knife stuck in your buttock cheek.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks very much.
Yeah, very good. I'm always here to talk about positive things. Boys, thanks. Callum, good to hear from you again.
I'm gonna play us out.
Oh God, here we go. And before you do that, before you go fuck a cat, Seán, thanks very much for coming back on the show.
Thanks, it's been a pleasure.
In some ways, we are indebted to you for giving us this idea of doing this stupid podcast. So we greatly appreciate hearing your dulcet tones once more, and obviously you're always welcome on.
Well, I'm pretty sure that you constantly go on world tours claiming royalties from a Christmas single. So when you make the big time here, I'll claim the royalties from this, and I will constantly go on world tours.
Absolutely, indeed.
Okay.
Well, that world tour might kick off again around the 25th of May this year.
Yeah. No, I'll be before that.
Yeah, we'll be before that. I'll come a week beforehand.
Yeah.
Just to adjust to the altitude. I'm going to head off in about an hour's time to go watch the college football BCS National Championship final between the University of Notre Dame and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And the University of Notre Dame, also known as the Fighting Irish, also celebrated their 125th year, and they've climbed the mountain. No one thought they would. They weren't even in the top 25 rankings to try and do anything this year, and they've just now gone 12-0, and the first time they've done that since 1967, would you believe? So omens abound. So if the Irish get up today, and they're ranked number one, but they're not the favourites. That's how much they don't think they're going to do any good. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually a bit nervous about that, to be honest. I've not missed a game this year. I'm really looking forward to it. And there's a lot of Celtic supporters throughout the world that, not surprisingly, but do follow Notre Dame, and I keep in touch with them on Twitter and stuff. So a big shout out to all those guys. I'll be talking to you. So hopefully Notre Dame get up, and that can continue the path for Celtic towards glory in Wembley on the 25th of May. So Callum, do you want to play us out?
Okay, good luck.
Let me just tune my instrument. All right. This could be bad.
This will be bad. Very good.
Sean's a lot better than me.
How?
I'll promise you this, and for the second anniversary show, we'll make sure we're a lot better.
All right, cheers, boys.
Bye.
Okay, see you later.
Sad are the homes round Garryowen, since they lost their giant pride, and the banshee cry rings every vale along the Shannon side. That city of the ancient walls, the broken treaty stone, undying fame surrounds your name. Seán South from Garryowen was honoured to renew your zeal as the shades of night came down. A lorry load of volunteers approached the modern town. There were men from Dublin and from Cork, Fermanagh and Tyrone, and their leader was danger they might face, their fate that lay in store. They were fighting for old Ireland to claim their very own, and the foremost of that gallant band was South from Garryowen. But the sergeant spied their daring plan, he spied them through the door. The stun guns and the rifles pealed, a hail of death did pour. And when that awful night was past, two men lay as cold as stone. There was one from near the bar